Welcome back to another great episode of Midnight Mayhem. I am your host, Leo.
And I'm Bobby, and I love horror.
And I'm Leo, and I love horror.
Yeah, you do.
And I'm Raymond, and I love horror movies.
Hold on, cut.
No cut, just
Fix
run
it, fix it. All
Fix
right,
it in
all
post.
right, go, do it.
All right, hold on, here we go. Clap again.
No,
Ready?
hold
Clap.
on. We're rolling. We're live.
All right,
fix
I'm
it.
Bobby, and I love horror.
I'm Leo, and I love movies.
And I'm Raymond, the other guy.
And we're amateurs.
Amateur Hour. Welcome to Amateur Hour.
Let's go! All right.
What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Creature Feature number 3. This is Tremors. This is my choice. Personal choice. I really enjoyed this when I was a kid. Do you guys like it?
I liked it.
I want to say it's probably the most fun we've had out of the creature features. And I do want to just point something out because this is the last video we're making of the movies we pick. And then after that, we're going to be doing a little bit of the viewer suggested videos. But I noticed that we've gone back in the past.
Yeah.
So we started 2024.
2024.
And yours was, what, 2010?
2011.
2011, and now we're in 1990.
1990.
And I also noticed that the creatures we chose grew progressively bigger. So
that is pretty fun.
Yeah,
just a little
that's
fun
true. That's true.
thing I noticed while we were watching this. So what made you choose this movie?
I remember when I first saw it when I was a kid. I went to my aunt's house. They were having a barbecue, and they had a mini
Like a little theater room?
No, just like a tiny TV, like up on the wall. You know, like those what are they called? Like our
old folk, yes.
Yeah.
The kind you'd find at a home.
the old blocky TVs, you know?
Yeah.
They had it on top, and like the channels were kind of like staticky. It was like it's like an old cable, and a movie was playing, you know. And I remember when I started watching, I was like, "What movie is this?" You know. And there was like 2 construction people, and all of a sudden, like next thing I know, there was like brains inside a helmet, and these guys freak out and they start driving, you know. So I was like, "Huh, that's interesting." And then I remember skipping to the movie, and then I remember them like vaulting over rocks, and then I remember the worms, and I was like, "This is terrifying. What is this?" You know.
What is this? I need more.
I didn't see it again until I was probably like 12 or something. That was like, oh yeah, this is that one movie I saw when I was a kid. So I watched it again, and I was like, it was actually pretty good. I liked it a lot.
You were a scary kid. I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I, for some reason, remember watching this movie in like a classroom.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like a science thing or whatever. Like, you know how sometimes they'll just put on a movie?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be like Bill Nye. It's just like, oh, we're just going to put this movie
It's
on.
movie day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I watched this in a school setting. But I do remember seeing this movie prior. And then this is your first time watching this, or you've seen it before?
I've seen it before as a child. This is that's the thing. I don't remember this movie at all. I remember one of the sequels because a scene never happened that I was waiting for.
Oh, which scene was that?
Without spoiling, the race cars, using RC cars.
That was a sequel. That was number 2.
One of the movies uses RC cars, and I was like, that was a creative way to go about that.
Yeah.
And then, but I was also a child, and I remember watching it around the same time my dad was watching. Like, he let me watch Predator as a kid, so I was like, okay. So I must have. This came out 99?
1990.
1990.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. When I'm guessing the sequel came out some like couple years later, or
Probably like 3 years later. I
Probably
can look it
like
up for you right now.
Yeah,
couple
so I
years
must
later.
have
I think
been
like 92 maybe.
I must have been like 3 or 4 when I actually.
96. So
Damn.
6 years
Yeah.
The second one?
Mm-hmm. Tremors
Damn.
2.
Yeah. So I was
It's
what?
a whole 6 years later.
I was 2 years old. So yeah, I was like 3 or 4 when I first saw like
Yeah.
a glimpse of it.
And the second one's pretty good too.
Second one was really good.
Yeah.
At least from my memory, but again, 4-year-old memory.
Yeah.
So
Remember your 4-year-old? I still remember reading my first book.
yeah. So I don't want to say my opinion until you guys go because I you know.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to say our opinions at the very end. Leo, since this is your, since you're hosting this episode, you're going to give us your rating, your opinion, and you're going to give us a quick synopsis.
Sure.
After that, we're going to talk about the movie a little bit, and then we'll give you what we liked, what we didn't like, and we're going to see if we change your rating a little bit, and then we'll give you ours.
So please check out the movie. After a synopsis, if it sounds interesting, go for it. Don't just watch the video straight through because then I feel guilty. We didn't go through the effort of making this beautiful art. So.
And if you look up Tremors and you happen to come across this episode, if you look to the left, you should see this movie for rent. That's how algorithms work. So, yeah. So that's fun.
No, that's true.
Look at me telling the future. So what's this movie about?
All right, so we got two local repairmen, Val and Earl.
Handyman, yeah.
Little handyman. You know, they moved out to this desert town of I forgot what the name of the town was. I don't know if you guys remember. Pleasant.
Was it really? Yeah.
Pleasant town of just 14 people living in the town.
Yeah.
These two guys are just tired of their work. You know, like they've done everything. They're like, you know what? Let's try to look for something better. You know,
Yeah,
so
like, I don't want to do this forever.
yeah, I don't want to do this forever. So they go into town. You know, you meet the townspeople there. You know, you got a mom, you got a daughter, you got an annoying.
Sorry, quick correction.
Huh?
The name of the town is called Perfection.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, even better.
Pleasant is a Fortnite thing.
All
right.
And then you meet our townspeople. You know, you got the merchant, you got like the stereotypical Mexican dude, you got the annoying
family,
teenager, the white family,
and then the Doomsdayers.
and then the Doomsdayers. Yep. And you meet everybody like almost all at once, right there on the dot. But it's okay because you know you will see a lot more screen time with them later on.
Yeah, it's not like they just introduce them and then you never see them again.
Exactly. So, when do they find the first victim, which was the old man? Is that before they decide to move out, or after?
No, they're leaving.
No, they're
on
leaving.
their way out.
They're on their way out.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're like,
right,
that's old
yeah.
man Higgins. I don't remember his name. I can look it up for you right now. But they
It's
see him.
Merle or something like that.
Yeah, they see him and they basically go.
He's like on top of a
like,
tower.
Like, what's he doing up there? And then like,
Yeah.
oh, we can't just leave him. Like,
He's
let's
like
help
he
him
fell
get down.
asleep up there. Let's get him down.
Yeah.
So they get him. They reach him on top, and he's just dead up there.
Yeah, they find a corpse.
They find a corpse. You know, they bring him down. They get a morgue in there, and they're like, "How did he die? You know, stroke, heart attack?" And they're like, "No, he died of thirst." What do you mean he died of thirst? Like, it takes 4 days to die of thirst. He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You're trying to tell me he's been up there for 4 days?"
Yeah. Like, what is he, stupid? Like,
Yeah, exactly. So
go down and get some water.
yeah. So then they're all like, "Man, something must have chased him up there," and then he stayed up
Yeah,
there.
they're
you know?
like what would chase him that would wouldn't be afraid of a gun?
Exactly.
But,
Because
but these guys are done over with the town, and they're like, "All right, well, we helped
Here's
them
the
out.
body. Yeah, here's the
more
body.
of a reason to leave.
We're
Yeah,
out of here."
exactly.
And then they're contemplating on the drive, and then what happens?
Then they drive by the two construction men,
Yep.
right? So there's two construction men. That's one of the scenes I remember as a kid.
Yeah.
They drive past by them on the way in, and they drive past by them on the way out.
And
And
they drive past the farm.
the farm. Oh yeah.
No, they get to the farm after the road
yeah,
work.
after.
After they pass him.
Yeah.
They get to the word. They just start yelling. It's like there's a murder out loose. You know, like oh no.
Yeah, so they pass by the farm.
The
They notice
farm,
all the
yeah.
sheep are gone. Everything's covered in blood. They go,
Uh-huh.
hey, where's the old guy? So
Where's
they're
the old farmer?
They're looking around for him, and this is probably the only jump scare in the movie.
Yeah.
But it was done very well. So they pick up with the
Tasteful.
hat, and it's just the old man's head,
Just his head
sticking
just
out
on
of the ground.
sand. Yeah.
Chef kiss.
which I don't know if you guys have ever seen a dead body, head sticking out of the ground. But they reacted the way anyone should.
Yeah,
They
just
freak out.
they freaked out and they ran.
They freak out,
didn't
they
even
run
they're like,
back.
oh, I wonder who did this. It's
Yeah.
like, no, they just freaked out and they
It's
got
not
into
like,
the car
How
and
good?
ran.
How good would that
When
have
evil
been?
lurks, where they're just like, who do you think this is?
You know, there's a torso split in half.
Yeah.
Let's go talk to those shit. No,
Yeah.
no. They ran. They
Yeah,
ran
they
like holy
ran.
hell.
They
Imagine-
warned everybody they could.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about special features of this movie, but I imagine how good it would have been if they just didn't tell them that.
Yeah. I always like when they like it's kind of messed up to
That'd
do
be
that to
so
actors,
good.
but it's like I like when they do that where they're like, yeah, we didn't tell them when the explosion was gonna go off.
Yeah.
So the reaction is genuine.
Kind of sucks because there's no genuine reactions in this movie except for one, which was really stupid.
You tell us about it after.
Yeah,
right?
I guess
So
I'll
we-
get to it
later.
later, but they get into town, they start warning everybody. It's like, hold on, there's something killing people out here, and they're like, what do you mean, you know? As they're trying to get to the phone, that's when the creature comes in through the what's it called, the store, right?
Yeah. So when they get back, what you didn't mention was their car starts a little bit as they're leaving,
Right.
and they get inside to call the next town over. It's like, hey, like somebody's killing people, and they see something attached to their tire.
Right, which is like
Yeah.
one of the what do they call it, graboids?
Graboids, I think their names are.
Yeah.
I just call them tentacles, but yeah.
Yeah, they call them graboids. One of the graboids got attached to the tire, and they got ripped out. And then the store guy has it as like a souvenir.
Like a prop, yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
like-
take a picture with the
Yeah,
thing,
$5.
Yeah, $5.
The part I thought was messed up was they had like the little girl,
Yeah,
and she's like clearly uncomfortable with like sitting next to it. And they're like, "Oh, come on, like smile."
just
like,
smile, yeah.
Because that's what it was like growing up in the '90s. You
Yeah,
gotta do a lot of
I know.
stuff you're uncomfortable with for your parents.
So do you guys want to leave it right there? It's kind of
Sure.
Tickle
Yeah.
your fancy.
I mean, yeah.
So the concept is basically these random this killing spree's been going on. They don't know what exactly is going on.
They start out as tremors, like little earthquakes.
Yeah.
He said it. He said it.
And they had this student go out and study it because they're like, hey, this is not a geological site. There shouldn't be earthquakes in this area. But when they find out, it's just these giant worms moving from under the ground.
Yes. So if that sounds interesting to you, if it piques your interest, go check it out, please. If not, the rest of this is going to be just straight spoilers. So we're going to start talking about it as if you watched it. So
We're going to start talking about things we like, things we didn't like. Who wants to go first?
What would you like? What did you like about the movie? You picked it.
What didn't I like about the movie? It was great.
Yeah.
Like, the practical effects. Chef's kiss.
Yes,
man.
really.
Chef's kiss, man.
no, best part about it, I was like, all right, I'm going into it to PG-13. My expectations are pretty
They're
low.
pretty low,
They're
right?
pretty low.
But
Then
But
things get
PG-13
going.
in the 90s is like,
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
it's like a mile rated R in today's world.
There was one F-bomb dropped, and it was so like just randomly dropped, like a subtle one. And it was just one. It was super fun. Oh, man.
Could have
yeah.
been saved though. I feel like could have been saved for a better scene.
Me too. Could have been a more
they should have told their
comedic
kid to
moment.
shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
yeah.
why I said it.
Alvin, yeah.
I even
Yeah.
said that. I was like, I wish at that moment they just did save the F-bomb for that part.
All right,
I
so
know.
before we talk about the things we liked and things we didn't like, what do you guys think of the characters?
Liked everybody.
Characters and cast.
I liked everybody. Obviously, who,
Even Melvin.
Who, yeah, I mean, he was supposed to be unlikable.
Oh yeah,
And-
he added the charm to the movie.
Yeah,
like,
and
God, I
and,
hope
and,
this kid
and obviously,
dies.
like for him being
Not nicely.
unlikable, like he does get like humiliated too. You
Yeah.
know, like when
Yeah.
they give him that gun that's not loaded, or when they're like, get on the roof, he's like, what are you guys talking about? And he just like freaks out and gets on the tin roof or something
Yeah.
like that.
What, Reba? That's the name of the
Reba,
singer, right?
yeah.
I liked her a lot as a character. I liked pretty much everyone. They did a good job of spreading out for so many characters because the population says 14, but we're taking it that the two guys are from out of town,
Right.
and then we have
They've
the
just been staying there for a couple weeks, maybe.
Yeah, and then the seismologist or the
Rhonda.
student, yeah,
Yeah.
she's studying seismology, but she's also an outsider, so that puts us at 17 people.
Right.
And we get through everybody like at
That's
some
what I'm
point,
saying.
and
They
it doesn't
throw
feel too
everybody at the beginning of the movie.
and it doesn't feel too cluttered.
It
Surprisingly,
doesn't know.
and this is an hour and 40 minutes, so it's like, dang, you just knocked out that intro,
Yeah.
like everyone.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel.
Everyone's introduced. Nobody feels too rushed. There's a couple of characters that are pretty forgettable. But it's like they don't really add to the story, so it doesn't affect it too much.
There was a
Right.
purpose for
Yeah.
like them to go into further detail. Now, I think it would be actually easier to list things I didn't like about the movie, but even then,
Interesting, okay.
it's like because I like so much about the movie so far.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm trying to think of something I dislike, so you gotta give me a second.
There's one thing I didn't like, and it was just like literally one scene. But it's just a nitpick that I noticed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but
What was yours?
actually two nitpicks actually. When what's the wife and husband duo? What are their names again?
You're talking about the Doomers? Or
The
you're talking about
Doomers.
the doctor and his wife?
No, the Doomers.
The Doomers?
These guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they're in their basement and they're just going nuts, like shooting the thing came out of the wall. When they're going crazy, there's a shot where like it goes behind. What's his name again, man?
It's Bert
Okay.
Gummer
Uh-huh.
and Heather Gummer.
Okay,
Or
so
Goomer.
Bert, there's a shot where like it shows Bert from behind and he's shooting the thing. I think that worm was a miniature. And so when they showed him with it, you can tell that he was cropped into the scene, and it was noticeable because like he had some grain on him, and you can see the outline of the crop out. So I was like, it's fine, like it's whatever. That's the only
1990s
yeah,
Photoshop.
that's like the only CGI in the movie that I noticed. You noticed another one, but I didn't really notice that one.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, we'll rewatch that scene because
Yeah,
we had to rent the movie to watch it. We did this for you guys,
For
so
you.
we'll rewind it.
$3.99 gone down
Yeah,
the drain, man.
I had a good time.
No, actually, I
That's
wouldn't want to
pretty
own
fun,
this.
yeah.
The I'm trying to think of like a nitpick too, and I'm just like, it had to be pedantic. Like I had to try to choose something that's like, oh, I didn't like that.
There's
But,
little
like-
nitpicks that it's like they're obvious practical effects.
Good.
For example, like the stuntman when the
Yeah,
that was-
Mr. Wong.
that was
that's where I
charming,
noticed the CGI.
When you noticed that there was a CGI shot in there. I did not notice that,
See.
but after the CGI shot, the Mr. Wong, he's an older, he's like in his 60s, right? But when he's being dragged back and forth by that worm, it was an obvious stunt double. Stunt double with the wig.
All right. The only nitpick I can think of genuinely is what's the Bacon, Kevin Bacon, right?
Kevin Bacon.
Valentine.
Val.
Yeah. He just looked too clean a lot of the time.
It
Like
was.
early in
It's funny
hair all
because
perfect.
he was.
But legit, that's like the only thing I could think of the negative.
Sure,
He's
yeah.
the front man for the movie, so it's kind of like they're like, oh, we need like a Hollywood heartthrob, and it's funny to think like that was Kevin Bacon
Yeah.
like 34 years ago.
That's
Like,
true,
when
yeah.
you see Kevin Bacon, you're like, that's
That's
a man who gets married for money. Like,
Yeah, I know. That's the only thing I can think of because there's a few moments where like, oh, for a handyman, he's pretty clean. Like they did a scene where he's like this, and he's got a little
Oh,
dirt on his face. But again, I'm being really pedantic. I'm
Perfect
really
skin, man, for somebody that stays in the sun 24/7.
it's called sunscreen.
What about
Yes, yeah.
so CG of that one scene? Is that yours?
No,
'Cause
no,
I
I mean,
really can't think of anything else.
I didn't mind it. I noticed it was a little jarring.
There was this one scene that I mentioned it to you guys that it was pretty funny. It's not like a nitpick, but it was pretty funny how like when they're about to take off running and the thing before that thing pops out of the ground, you can see the platform,
Yeah,
the platform that they're standing on, where
They're basically standing above a hole, and they have a floorboard over it.
yeah, where the
And you can see
animatronic
the
is supposed to like
floorboard move while they're running.
I know,
Yeah.
and then
Um,
of course right next to it, the animatronic pops out, and it's like okay, it's obviously staged under their feet, you know.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the movie's aged. I don't really have any nitpicks for it. There's nothing about this movie that I didn't like.
I think we're all universal on that.
it aged very well.
It aged very well,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's charming as hell.
34 years old.
Yeah.
This
Damn,
movie's older than
you're
we are.
right, yeah.
And
exactly.
would you argue this is better? Because I'm dying to get
Yes.
into it. Better than the other two we saw, or
I think this was more enjoyable than the other two we saw.
It's more fun than the other two that we saw.
yeah,
I feel like
I agree too. Yeah,
because cause
I'm proud of my choice, but
I think we progressively got better as the
Yeah,
as,
Yeah.
as this went along.
'cause I mean, like-
don't screw it up with those viewer suggestions.
you know what's funny because when we started with Infested was like it was creepy, it was suspenseful, but I didn't really feel the creatures. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
yeah, the
most of them
presence.
were CGI. There were some
'Cause
that were
when this
good.
movie started,
Uh-huh.
I was thinking about Attack the Block as well, and I was like, man, like my choice kind of sucked, but I chose it specifically because I know you have a thing with spiders,
And it worked, yeah.
and it worked.
And then with Bobby, like the horror got toned down a little bit. The
For the-
creatures got toned up because it's like, ooh, there's some practical, but then they turn CGI, but then most of them are practical. You know what I mean?
The Attack the Block relied more on like mystery and the
Yeah.
characters. Like it
Yeah.
definitely focuses more on like the commentary of their lives,
Yeah.
Yeah,
of who they
yeah.
are, and then the monsters are just there.
They're just
Like-
a product of was the situation.
But
It's
this
not-
one, these guys these
Yeah.
monsters just take over. like
Yeah.
like these guys, we get a feel for these guys, who they are, and now they're just like survive.
And to- and to
that's
be
kind
honest-
of I love creature features. And
Yeah.
that's why Feast was one of my first suggestions ever.
Right. Uh-huh.
And this is pretty good. And I'm dying to get into it. So
And it's
Go for
pretty
it.
funny because it's like this one is not even like a horror movie. Sure has some suspense to it, but like for the most part, it's a fun.
It's just a fun.
It's a fun
feature
movie. Like
feature.
remember that scene where they're vaulting over the rocks?
Yeah.
They
I
had
was-
that song playing in the back.
I was expecting the
like
song
a
from
buddy
like
comedy.
the song from like Matilda, where they're just like hummed away, you know,
Yeah.
like a coming of age movie where they're like we're gonna go across, like, we're gonna go across the woods and we're gonna find a dead body and we're gonna become closer because of it.
I
So
know.
that's the vibe
yeah.
I got from that
I
scene.
know.
so if you still haven't watched the movie, I hope our little nitpicks have convinced you to at least check it out.
They
'cause
should not
they-
change the
The fact that we had so little to complain about in this movie.
Yeah.
compared
no,
to
for
other
real.
movies, yeah. So
I know.
all right, things you liked or what do you want to do exactly, Leo? You're the host.
Things that I liked were the miniatures because there was a lot of miniatures and a lot of practical effects. Pretty much like the scenes where the worms like explode or the scenes where the worms are all bloodied up. Those are definitely miniatures.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't-
Some
I don't-
some of the like gore scenes for the creatures seem
Uh-huh.
like practical.
They're practical, but they're miniatures. Well, think about it like this: like the final scene of the movie, like that was a pretty big worm, right? The one that falls on the rocks.
Yeah.
That was about the size of like from the table to
Well,
like
that one I believe because it was a
Such
solo
grand
scene.
it's a grand
right.
scale.
Yeah.
But then you have the scene where they have it crash into the
That
the
part was so
cement.
sick.
Yeah, but that one it's kind of off screen because you just kind of see the blood go through the wall, and then he
yeah,
kind
but
of
then
just
you
falls in.
you have them like holding on.
Right,
to
but as far as you know, it's like I don't know, it's like his head. It's not like a whole worm. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But still, like the gore effects on the worm were just great, especially when the grenade blows up on that worm and you see his intestines and like the bubbles,
It looks like chicken,
little bubbles, dude.
Yeah.
Like those, I just want to pop it.
like bubble wrap.
Yeah.
All right, what was
You
your
could edit a sound in for that.
what's your favorite scene?
I don't know if I could pick a favorite scene, but I really like the dynamic between the two main characters. So Bert and
Yeah,
Valentine.
really
yeah,
good.
yeah.
And then
Bert. It wasn't Bert. It was Is it? It's not Bert, right? Bert is
yeah, Bert is
Earl.
Earl.
Boomer.
Earl, yeah.
Valentine and Earl.
Earl was my favorite character.
I really
down.
liked Earl,
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
and I thought it was a little weird that Rhonda ended up with Kevin Bacon's character
Yeah,
at the end because
Well,
he was
I mean, she was a college student. She's not gonna end up with that guy. He's like 50 years old.
he's cool.
he does
I
not look 50
guess.
years
He does
old.
not look 50.
My man was in shape. I could tell through that shirt.
He was in his late 40s, maybe in that era.
Probably, but
Let's see.
Good-looking
so
dude.
he is, or he died 2 years ago. So rest
What?
in peace.
oh no.
What do you
He
mean?
died May 8th.
2 years
2 years
ago?
ago.
What did he die of?
Oh, don't
Death.
say, I don't
I'm
say
not gonna
COVID.
look. I'm
That'd
not
be
gonna look
sad.
in the cause of death or whatever. But he was 79
Damn.
when he in 2022, so about 30 years prior. So he was about 40, about 50.
40.
Okay.
50.
Wow. I did
Yeah.
not look that
So-
old to me.
Yeah.
No, he
But
looked
yeah.
great for that
He was in
age.
shape,
He
yeah.
looked great
Side
for that age.
tangent. Take a screenshot of that for
Oh,
me later when
man.
I do editing.
Damn, that's
So,
like a-
so you can pick a favorite scene. You just like the dynamic between the two main
Um,
protagonists,
Yeah.
lead characters, I guess.
Yeah, I really like the dynamic between the two characters. I do like the creatures that are learning, because that's one thing we didn't really see in the previous two creature features. Spiders, I feel like they got progressively dumber as the film went through,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, this giant spider the size of a Volkswagen is just gonna stop because of the headlights. The ones from Attack the Block, like, yeah, they were just basically running on pure instinct. And they
Yeah,
just-
that's what made them their
Yeah.
thing.
and then
Mhm.
this
And then-
one they were actively learning. And I wanted to ask your opinion on this, Leo, because I'm curious
What's up?
if you have any insight on it. Were the creatures or the graboids in this movie, were they at some point just out for revenge? Because initially it just seemed like they were eating, because they have
Yeah.
talks early in the film where they're saying like, oh, like cattle's gone missing, and you see like people getting pulled under.
yeah.
Can we talk about our
Uh,
interpretations of it? Because I'm curious. Because
We can, yeah.
Because I know what mine was. I thought it was that they were. Oh yeah, I'll go before Leo.
Yeah, so
I thought they were running out of food. I thought they were like
Could be.
because they
Because
they
the
had the
thing is-
cattle or the sheeps.
yeah, but they it makes sense that they were starting to go after the people.
Yeah,
Afterward?
after a certain point.
But then they start going after like the cars, and they start going after the buildings. It's like, yeah, they know there's people there, but at this point they had already killed like 2 or 3 of them.
yeah.
So it's like, would they even bother like trying to learn how to take a building down if it was just for
Mhm.
food?
Reminds me of raccoons. I feel like raccoons will open a dumpster lid to try to get like they'll try
Yeah.
a little
Try
more
to get it,
effort.
yeah.
And considering their intelligence, I'm gonna lean towards it was a combination. They have enough intelligence to seek revenge, but I think that they're like food is already scarce in the desert. Because like these things are huge, they're massive, and you're right to use that much burn that many calories to just try to get one meal.
Yeah.
Seems a bit excessive. That's where I
Yeah.
think the revenge part. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of the revenge part, but
Like there's a part where they're driving a bulldozer, and because
But they never
I brought
started,
up
like-
a theory where I was like, what if they made a bunch of noise? Like, would these things think like, oh, this is a larger animal than me, so there's no point in me trying to attack them?
Yeah.
But there's a part where they drive a tractor, and it starts like just trying to attack the tractor, even though it's like large and metal, and there's no way it can eat that.
I
Mhm.
think
So
it
I
was
don't
trying
think
to.
it's running off instinct. I think it was just like pure revenge.
I thought it was trying to sink
Could
it
be,
like while they had a
actually.
chance, because every time it stopped, they tried to
They tried grabbing it,
Yeah, I thought they were trying to sink it,
and it
but
got
then
clever.
See,
then
the
later on, then
Yeah.
they got the trench.
The thing is, I've only seen up until the 4th movie of this series.
Mhm.
Well, there's 6 in
Well,
total, right?
yeah,
And then
I think
a
there's 7.
series.
Well, actually, okay. So these things, according to the 7th movie, have been around for like hundreds of years. The 4th movie is a prequel, and it takes place in like the Old West, right? So those are the first ones that come out. I don't really remember much about that movie, but in every single movie before that, like 2 and 3, they evolve dramatically over the course of just like
Well,
either a
that's-
couple months
That's something to look forward to.
or a couple years, you know? Like they start growing legs, they start growing wings, they start spitting.
You can leave it there. Leave it there.
Alright,
Yeah,
alright.
because I want to see them.
But that was just a fun little thing, because that like the second movie takes place 6 years after this. So obviously, like they had to write the screenplay and all this stuff.
yeah, that's true.
But there's just a few times where Kevin Bacon's character, so Valentine, he's like, oh, like, they can't fly. And
Yeah.
I
And
thought that
eventually
was
they
just
do
fun.
fly.
Oh, I
That
thought
was just fun little
I thought that
foreshadowing.
was
Yeah.
foreshadowing for the end. Is that what you're getting at?
Mhm.
No, like foreshadowing. Like they just brought it up as a fact in the
Yeah.
movie, but later in the series, it's like,
Oh, you knew that though?
yeah,
Oh, I
knew
didn't-
that.
Yeah,
I didn't know
knew
that.
about that too. Yeah.
My mind, I'm like, oh, he literally ran it off the cliff, like,
Yeah,
because he's kind of
'cause
has
that
like,
is a good foreshadowing.
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
But we got to take a break real quick because camera.
Yes.
So be right back,
We're back.
and we're back. Thank
We're
you,
back. Thank you.
thank you. All right. So next part, I'm dying to give my rating. So just whatever we're gonna talk about next, talk about it. I hope you guys checked it out. I hope you guys liked the movie. If you didn't, I mean,
What's wrong
tell,
with
tell us below because this
Yeah.
was a strong choice.
Right.
And you
I'm-
normally don't pick good movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew this
You
was
pick garbage
I'm
like
kidding.
The
Like
Shining,
Hereditary, The Shining.
like
just
what's wrong with me, dude.
just
bottom of the
basic.
barrel
Yeah,
$5
of
bin at
course.
Walmart.
beloved
Yeah.
films.
Yeah,
Everybody I've
something
seen.
everyone can enjoy.
Yeah.
Literally, Hereditary was like one of our most collected
Yeah.
since ever in the nostalgia.
It
Uh,
was. Ratings. I'll go first. I give this movie a solid. I say solid 7.9, closer to 8.
shocked. I am
Yeah.
shocked.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, this is such a good movie. Like you had such a
What?
good choice, and you're just like, yeah, 7.
maybe
I was
like a
what?
6.
Uh,
No, it's more like an 8. I give it an 8.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't let us bully you. All right.
Yeah.
Good job.
Maybe I'll drop it down to a 7.5. No, an 8. It's a solid 8. Yeah.
8.5 for
Yeah?
me, I think.
Hey,
Dang,
that's pretty
God.
good.
It's such a fun movie. The characters were super likable.
Likeable.
Can you guys
yeah.
explain the ratings? Like,
So
for you guys?
I just think this movie held up really well, and this is something you could watch with anyone. Like it's PG-13. There's a couple things where like, man, that was PG-13 back then, but like
Yeah.
you could watch this with someone who's like not even that into horror, and this is just an enjoyable film because I feel like this is less horror oriented and more creature oriented.
Yeah,
So this
definitely.
is everything I wanted from this. little
This
thing
is a
we're doing
creature
is a creature
feature.
feature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is definitely
Perfect.
a creature feature.
Yeah.
Perfect definition of creature
Uh-huh.
feature.
So
Right.
I mean I think the movie held up really well. Characters really good. I liked a lot of the lines, some of the just the random like little jokes they threw in there.
Yeah.
Like I like the annoying kid Melvin.
Fucking hate
How
that
they were
kid.
like he like screams or whatever, and they all point guns at him, and they were like, oh like you only get that one time.
It's that kid that cried wolf.
This
yeah.
close. The second part where he's
Blew your
outside, and he's
brains
screaming. Is I'm gonna go beat that kid up. He's like, I'll join you.
That was great. I love that.
So I mean, just
That was a lot of good-
A lot of this movie held up really well.
Yeah, I mean,
explain your rating more.
Like you said, this movie's 34 years old. This movie does hold up very well, both with practical effects, the characters, like they're all super likable. Story is like very basic, I guess, because they're all just trying to run away, but it's fun.
It's
It's-
basic,
it's
but
very fun.
everything makes sense because it's not like oh no, we can't leave because of this. It's like,
Right.
hey, you already know they're isolated, and then the fact that there's
Yeah.
a cave in.
yeah.
And they're
So the only
isolated
road
throughout
out.
most of the movie. Like they're stuck on the first set of rocks for like maybe 5 minutes of total runtime.
Yeah,
And then they're stuck inside on top of the roofs for like maybe I would say 10,
I'd say like probably like a quarter of the runtime.
right?
Yeah, where that runs.
Yeah, so a while, and then they're stuck on the rocks at the end for like I don't know, maybe like 10 minutes or
Take
so.
the last 10 minutes of the
Yeah,
movie.
so it's like I would say they're just stuck for
Yeah.
like more than half of the movie. They're just stuck and can't move. And if you said to somebody's like, "Man, that sounds pretty boring," but it was not boring. Like
Yeah.
it's like it's very interesting. It was funny. Like it's creative with all the shit that they came up with. Like, oh, let's turn on the tractor and you run that way, or
Yeah.
like let's break the water pipe so
So
they
the-
can come
the
over
vibration
here
from the water
and he can
will-
grab the tractor and
Yeah.
then drive. You know what I mean?
It was clever, and
Yeah.
I don't think anyone because I'm a big advocate for horror movies where it's like the story can't progress unless somebody does something stupid.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone did anything stupid besides
The little kid that was
the
being
little
stupid.
girl with the pogo stick.
But
and
she
then
didn't know
the-
any better.
Yeah. Which
I
you
mean,
can-
I think she knew about the monsters at that point.
Not at all. She had her headphones on. She didn't know anything.
Yeah.
She didn't know anything.
The
Oh, she
anything
saw- she
Oh
took
no,
a-
she's got her AirPods in.
Yeah.
should have taken a picture of the little tentacle snake
Yeah,
thing.
I feel like she
So-
knew about it. I don't know why she
Yeah.
was just and also like if you're being picked off one by one in a small town, like don't leave your kid alone.
No, I know. Yeah, none of the characters did a stupid decision. Luckily, all of them were smart. I mean, even including Melvin, the annoying kid, because even when he was threatened, he's like, first reaction was jump on the roof and stay there, you know?
Yeah.
Or like towards the end where like he's like, give me a gun. He was annoying, you know? Like his reaction was to shoot at them as he's running away fast, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like he stayed behind. He's like, let me take care of this,
like,
you know what I mean?
I got it, guys. And he's like, no, you actually don't have bullets in there.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was even like smart, you know? So I like that about the movie. There's a lot of movies that come out now that it's like, man, that was a stupid decision, or it's like, I can't believe they did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I did enjoy that.
I think the most recent films we've watched, like the most newest ones, have had that happen. Where I'm just like, why does that?
I don't know if you guys have seen Tear It. Or
No.
I think that's what it's called.
Oh no.
It's the movie's basically like Bad Decisions, the movie.
Oh,
Is it Carrot or?
tarot, like tarot cards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrot there, poster. Boom. There you go, ladies and gents. Don't worry, I'll do it this time.
Recommendation on that one, but
No, I didn't want to hear if you guys could knock down the score for me at all, because you guys seem like you're lowballing. I'm like, this is a 9 out of 10, dude.
I feel
you guys
like,
kidding me?
yeah,
This
I
is
feel
like
like racing the score now that I'm talking about it more.
well, I said 8.5.
No, yeah, but I was
think
born
about
on like
going
9.5 while watching it, and then I was like, all right,
nearly
no, I
perfect movie.
really liked it. Like,
Yeah, I know. I
fun.
saw you and liking
I was
it.
like,
Yeah.
damn, this is super fun.
Are you're telling me like this is basically a nearly perfect movie?
Yeah. Runtime,
Yeah,
monster,
sure.
gore,
Characters.
character motivation. I can't even. I
effects were
literally
great.
am like fighting to like find something to like point and
Yeah,
like,
'cause
oh,
even
that's
the things
bad.
that we didn't like,
Actually,
they
the guy was
weren't-
too clean.
Yeah.
Like,
And it had a lot of
I
like.
gotta knock it down to 0.5. The characters look too good in this movie.
On top of that, they had Evil Dead shots, man.
They
Can't go
had
wrong with-
really
can't go
cool
wrong with
that
that.
And very
Yeah.
creative with some of the shots where they give you the perspective of the creatures, which is kind of ironic. 'cause
Both
they don't have
above
eyes.
ground
and
and
underground, which
yeah.
was sick. Imagine like going for that, like thinking like, oh, we're gonna do this kind of shot, and then
Yeah.
let's keep the CGI shots as much as we can, like where it's gonna be dark, where it makes
Right,
sense.
exactly.
So I'm like, dang, this was a solid pick. I'm guessing I'm probably gonna end up liking the second movie more because I love when
Sure,
things
yeah.
go crazy.
Uh-huh.
But like just
So real quick, just a little fun fact. Out of every character in this movie, can you guess which character is going to be in most, if not all, of the sequels?
not Reba. I would.
She's too big. She got too big at some point.
She got too big.
How
Yeah.
about this?
No, what's his name? Was it Kevin Bacon? Oh, he doesn't like doing sequels, right? I mean, that's why he's not on Friday the 13th later
Well,
on.
to be honest-
never mind.
Died.
Never mind.
Yeah.
That was a
There's a good
stupid
reason why
thing.
he wasn't-
I was testing you
He's
guys.
a horror fan.
Well, to
guys.
be honest, before you answer that question,
I think it was,
Kevin Bacon hated this movie.
I can imagine.
No. But he says that
He doesn't like horror, right?
No. He hated this movie with his guts. He said he hated making this movie, basically because he thought it was gonna bomb in the box office. He thought it was a joke, and
I thought it was a waste of time.
It kind of was when it came out in theaters, but when it came out on VHS, it tripled its numbers in sales,
Oh, yeah,
and just
dude.
VHS and rents and all that. But Kevin Bacon
Back when you
said,
would go to Blockbuster Video and be like, "What's this about?"
Back in
Yeah.
my day.
Yeah.
"No, Kevin Bacon said
My
that
back hurt from
the
saying
only
that.
reason why the only reason why he took on the role to this movie it was because he just got married
needed
and
a
his
paycheck.
and his and he
I'm
needed a
guessing.
paycheck, so he just went for it. He said that when he made the movie, he felt embarrassed. He's like, "This is the lowest point of my career." It wasn't until like it wasn't until like
Too good for
2012, dude. It wasn't until like the early 2000s, maybe around 2012 or 2006, when the TV show came out, where he understood that this was a cult classic, and it's like, okay, maybe maybe it was good, you know, and he
Yeah.
got more appreciation for that.
If you know where you got your source, like if you have a clip or something, send it to me and I'll add it here because that was pretty good.
My sources, I made it up.
My source is Facebook.
Yeah, I think James A. Janice from Dead Meat was the one who was like who brought up him not liking horror too much, and when he was doing the Friday the 13th. But I feel like I remember that, but who knows?
But anyways,
So
back to that question when
Well,
Raymond.
that's a
Near
little bit of a
perfect
spoiler.
movie. I
So
just-
it wasn't Kevin Bacon.
It wasn't Kevin Bacon.
No, but I figured it was his partner,
Earl.
Earl. I feel like Earl would have been the one to continue for at least a little bit.
So
You
if
wanna
I'm
tell him?
not mistaken, Earl is in the second film,
And
but
Oh,
the
yeah.
character who was in, I think in all of them, including the TV series, was Bert.
Burr becomes
The
the
Doomsdayer.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense because when I was watching the movie, I was like, oh yeah, he would just go back to his bunker Like,
Yeah, like
why
He
Earl,
would
not?
have died if he did
Earl
that.
becomes the main character of the second movie, but from the third all the way to the seventh movie, I think there's 7 or 8.
But yeah,
I
I
don't
think you
remember.
would
It might
need
be 7.
kind of like that concept of Jeeper Creepers. Like, when something comes back, you gotta need someone
Yeah.
that knows what's going on.
Yeah.
So you don't have
Yeah.
having to
even in the prequel that takes place in the old ways, it's Bert's.
there.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
for
Bert's
like-
relative.
as a plot device, you would want that so that way you don't have to constantly keep trying to have people rediscover a
Yeah.
monster that the audience knows.
But fun fact, Melvin comes back in the third movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Same actor.
Same actor.
All right. Well, I'm probably I got a couple of sequels to watch now because I got to finish Wreck and I'm probably gonna start this right after. But no, yeah, damn near perfect movie. I honestly I loved it a lot.
Very fun. Very fun.
I
Still
was-
think 9.5 is high.
No, I said 9. I knocked it down as I was going. I think it's because I like
all right.
Feast.
That's all right.
I like Feast slightly more because of the ridiculous score and disgusting
How over the
aspect.
top it is.
It's just right on my alley of like nastiness.
Yeah.
But also it's Feast is a little too mean sometimes, like
Yeah.
you said. So I'm just like, this is charming. It's a PG-13. I feel like if it had the R rating, I probably would probably have it higher. Like just
Maybe.
For-
One thing is.
it depends.
One thing.
And by R, I'm talking about the gore specifically. Like
Now that I thought of a criticism is nobody really mourns in this movie.
I don't got time to mourn.
I didn't have time to
No,
mourn, but like
If I were nostalgic in the sense of like, it reminded me of Predator. It reminded me of that. There's a movie.
just that era of film.
Yeah.
pretty
It,
much.
it's
I felt like
right up there.
This
It's
was a
like,
craft back in before. Now I
There's-
feel like people are just cranking out movies so they can have a movie out.
Yeah, like just to have a title out or
mhm.
something. Yeah,
Well,
this was made with love and. Go
And
ahead.
do you have
before-
any insight on like the character, the creature design, or how they came up with the concept, or anything like
I mean, kinda. So like, they had an idea that they wanted like these killer worms to come out, right? It wasn't until like later on in the production where
that? I just thought of the SpongeBob episode with the
this,
Alaskan bullworm.
Yeah.
That's like the little tongue
Yeah.
grabber.
Yeah.
there's a couple of things that reminded me of
Yeah.
this
So-
movie.
so-
It's big, pink, and fuzzy, or like I don't remember the exact phrasing, but I just thought about that right now because you said killer worms.
So pretty much like it wasn't until like not mid production, but like mid pre-production that they're like, hey, I know we're doing these worms, but what if these worms are kind of like aliens? If they have like a little alien inside of them, you know what I mean? Kind of like the alien has like a little alien, yeah,
The xenomorphs.
exactly. So like that's when
yeah,
they
the
come up
puppets
with
were
these.
so cool.
Yeah,
I did really like the scene where they're like discussing it. Where like, where do you think it's from?
yeah.
And you get a little bit.
I was thinking that the whole time you
Because
were
we have
talking.
the parallel of like Attack the Block with like I think the government made it.
Yeah,
I was laughing.
exactly.
I
And
was
then you have like I think if you ask me, I think they came from space.
I know
So I like that little back and forth between them while they're stuck on the rock.
this.
And then they're like, does it really matter?
doesn't matter.
No, that's what I love. That they're like,
They gave exactly enough information that you need for the movie to continue.
yeah, and if they
And
want
I
to,
appreciate it,
if they
man.
want to explain it, it's gonna be later on. So
Yeah.
it's like,
It became a running joke that the little worms, because a lot of crew members didn't take them seriously because they look like
little maggots or what?
They look like redacted.
dicks.
Oh, okay, is that why?
Yeah,
that makes
they-
sense.
Yeah, so they're like, this is ridiculous, but they just left them on there. But fun fact, the puppets themselves, when they were like half size, I guess, because when you see the full worm, those are miniatures for sure. But when you see like half of it, like the head, like the big head comes out, those were actually like half worms, and they were controlled by 20 puppeteers, including the little worms and all that, because you see each part move individually. The
Yeah.
tentacles, the mouse, the tiny little worms, like it was all like very, very practical.
Puppeteering is such an underrated like thing in
Craft.
movies.
It's
It's
so
just,
good,
yeah,
dude.
It's so good every time I see it.
I know. They don't do it anymore, man.
They do, but it's less.
It's hard.
For them, it's like, oh, let's just make it CG because it's easier.
And so it's easier,
less
more
expensive,
affordable. Yeah.
Bring
But
back puppeteering.
before we
Not dead
wrap,
silence.
before we finish off, I didn't get around to my favorite scene.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down, the Volt scene where they
Yeah, dude.
where they're shooting when I think
Yeah.
goes through their wall. It's like, oh, that makes sense. Basement, the wall's not gonna be like crazy thick,
No,
so it
yeah.
gets through the concrete.
The sand
and then they're
falls in,
shooting?
Yeah.
And then you just have this hilarious moment of them just like turning, like, we're out, turn around,
the
and it's just
wall.
a wall, an armory.
Yeah.
And
And they're like,
there was one thing you said you liked while we were watching the movie is when Reba's shooting and she goes, "I'm out, hand me a magazine,"
and then I was
which
like,
is the proper term for that,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
part.
she's like, she didn't say, hand pass me those clips. She was like, hand me
She
a
takes those
magazine.
two pistols out, just goes
Yeah, the-
crazy.
Oh, the dual wielding.
The dude comes out with an elephant rifle.
rifle.
Yeah.
Raymond pointed out this thing where when he Melvin, the annoying kid, passes
Oh, yeah.
Bert, the survivalist, his gun back. he has proper gun safety.
Because he asked him, he's like, "Hey, give me a gun." He's like, "All right, I'll
No,
give you this gun."
He
but
gives
just-
he gives him a gun to motivate him to feel confident enough to run.
Yeah.
And then once the kid tries to fire it stupidly into the field,
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, this doesn't have any bullets." When he hands the empty gun back to
Bert.
Bert, he opens it and checks to make sure there's no bullets inside, regardless that he
Even
knows.
though he,
Yeah.
even though
And
he
that's such a
had checked
minute
Yeah.
detail that's perfect. Like that's great.
Yeah, for
That was-
like a gun, like crazy mad guy like that, like
And-
he always checks.
And these little details are what made me just like love it. Like
Yeah.
and then you pointed out like, oh, the floor is kind of raised. And I was like, that
Yeah.
adds so much charm. It's like Candyman when he jumps out the window and you see the string. It's like, I don't even care that you see the string.
Or like Hellraiser,
Good.
you see like the
Yeah, the tram on the
Tram
freaking
there?
on the engineer. Like that just
Ah.
adds charm for me. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, that's so good.
back to our episode 1, bro.
Yeah,
the
alright.
engineer on the tram.
So that's why I was like, just watch this movie. I was like, dang, this is really good. I feel like if they go for more gore in the next movie, probably gonna be my favorite. Oh, and then the practical effects on the gore, like you said, there's that one. But when they open up the wall and it's all oozy, and I
he
didn't
just
even open
kinda,
the
like
wall.
drops down.
You see that like the little tentacle head.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, where's the other dude? And then he's just digging up.
Yeah, he's like, I
Yeah,
found
the
butt-
rest of
I
it,
found the
yeah.
butt part.
But like that was such a cool reveal to be like,
Yeah.
oh, they probably don't. They
And
probably
they're so
can't show it.
detailed too, because it's like the
Yeah.
beaks look like beaks,
It
and
brought
they're
me
like,
back to Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
dude.
and
like
the
I was
beaks,
like,
they're all
wow.
That's
scratched
exactly what I was
up,
thinking. It was
dude.
like Jurassic Park, like that kind of level of
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, and Jurassic Park's a 10 out of 10. Like for me.
oh yeah,
like, I
it's a
didn't-
10 out of 10 for me too.
And just a little round retail because you know how I always say like I think more is less or less is more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like, oh, like well, it doesn't really matter where they came from. Like this is just the predicament we're in.
Mhm.
Just a little detail I liked where she goes, oh, like look at these little spikes on the body. Like this
Yeah,
is,
to make
this
it
must be how
move.
moves.
To make it
Yeah,
move.
those
yeah.
are-
And it's like
uh-huh.
it wasn't like over explained. I was like, oh, like that's just a cool little thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
there's
makes
a lot-
sense.
there's a lot of
And
things
it
like
makes
that.
It
sense.
serves purpose where it's like, oh, like you understand how they move as an audience member, and it shows how smart of a character Rhonda is as a character
Mm-hmm.
because she understands like the
And
the ins and outs of like how it would function just by looking
Yeah.
at it.
you know how like sometimes in movies you'll have like a throwaway line. There was none in this movie. That didn't serve a comedic purpose or one that didn't actually make a
It's
reference.
a very tight script.
Yeah, and for like what was it, an hour and 40? Just shy of an hour and 40.
Yeah, it's like 96 minutes.
That's
runs
that's sick. Like so yeah, I'm sticking to my 9. Just 9 out of 10. Boom, there, glorious, beautiful.
Well,
Hell yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Hell yeah, I want to watch it.
uh,
I want to watch another one.
Leo, solid recommendation.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
Viewers, don't let us down. You got a lot of hype to live up to. So hopefully you guys have been coming in the last couple of videos we've made. Next video we're gonna make is going to be a viewer suggestion. I think we're gonna
Yes,
do
sir.
1 or 2 of those, and then we will figure out what we're doing with the channel next. Any final words?
It's the last episode, guys.
Yeah, I forgot to mention we're not doing this
We
anymore.
can't come up with any more movie ideas.
I actually have a
Sorry
few,
about the bad upload
Um,
schedule. It's been all over the place recently.
just for whatever reason, and if you made it this far, I guess consider this a sneak peek. I mentioned my favorite decades of horror is early 2000s,
Yeah.
and for whatever reason, I really wanted to watch the movie Mirrors.
Huh.
So I think we'll do Mirrors after our creature feature. And if you
Perhaps.
guys have anything in that same era, basically anything from
Like
like
mid
2000,
2000s.
yeah, 2005 to 2010. If you can find any movie within that, even if it sucks, even if it's
Yeah.
like cringy,
Think-
I think we should watch it.
Okay.
Because as horror fans, you take the good with the bad.
Yeah. Thinking about that episode, the decades, I'm kind of left holding that bag when I was like, I like this current like ongoing. I feel like it's how horror's just getting
Yeah.
better, and like,
But as we've progressively gone into the past with the creature features,
it's
you're
just
like,
like
man,
banger,
movies
banger.
used to be good.
Some of them newer movies are great, but like
Some of 'em,
it's
yeah,
like there's a lot more bad or like a lot more fluff than there used
Yeah.
to be.
I have an idea too, but it's for the long run. Like it has to do with decades too, but it's gonna last a year.
Also, if you want to do it was gonna last a decade. If you want to do just a fun short video, we'll talk about it after this. But I have an idea for that as well. But that's all the time we have for today's episode.
Thank
So
you for watching.
thank you for watching.
staying.
Thank you for listening.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for the subscriptions.
Yeah,
Subscribe.
You got it. You got it.
Subscribe, like,
There-
comment, subscribe. Don't
there's
forget to
all
follow us
our
on our
stuff.
socials. If you see Bobby waving his arm like a maniac, there should be something above him.
Yeah,
If there's not, blame Leo.
Alrighty.
Once again, thank you, and we are out.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Love you.